and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer, an explorer, going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty, its incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Friday, baby. Happy frickin' Friday, my friends. My friends and loved ones from all across the globe. How is everybody today? It is Friday. And too soon to say, but this could be the best show of all time. Catch you later, Aaron. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling much better than I was yesterday. Woo, yesterday was tough. That might have been the toughest show of my life yesterday. And we still went on for an hour and a half. But anyways, today's show is titled, Stop Chasing the Monies. Instead, build infinite value. Build infinite value. This is and I put the thumbnail as the Great Reset. Because it's got to be a reset on your operating system, your software right here. This is your software up here. And everybody's kind of going through an upgrade right now. Some, not so much. Some are actually going the opposite. Some are getting different types of derangement syndrome. We got Trump derangement syndrome. We got Michael Saylor derangement syndrome now, or Saylor derangement syndrome. And we have core, Bitcoin core. Derangement syndrome. So we got TDS, SDS, and CDS. But overall, wow, look at this. Moravian. I want to start the show today with a big shout out to our guy, Moravian, who sent in two Moravians yesterday and the day before. I forgot to give a shout out to him yesterday. I didn't see it actually until the phone died, so I charged it yesterday, and I came to see Moravian had sent two Moravians to Arnie Boy and the Rescue Dogs. The fund of funds. Man, that's going to be something. That's going to be something. One day we will get that done. But anyways, so yeah, we got an upgrade happening to our internal software. And it's kind of like a factory reset, I think. And some are going to take longer. Some are going to be like me with my phone where it says update your phone, and then I don't do it for 2.5 years. That's kind of like humans. Everybody's different. Everybody's in a different spot. And everybody has a very unique perspective. So things kind of happen on much different time frames. That's just the way it is. That's the way it always has been, and that's the way it always will be. When you have this many frickin' people trying to agree on things. And, it's crazy to me. I'm not going to spend too much time. I kind of said last week, or maybe it was even this week, that we're going to talk about the BIP 110. And then that was kind of it. And I really think that's, I said what I needed to say. I don't really need to expand further on it. But it is kind of interesting to me just how the whole thing's playing out. And, we're fortunate to live through this. We really are. And I've said this a couple times now, but I think it's worth repeating, which is, if you asked, I know everybody's kind of up in arms with the whole thing, and people are very divided and getting very emotional about it. And, but what stands out to me is like nobody outside of our Bitcoin circle, sleep in my eye. My alarm didn't go off today. Power went out at about 3 a.m. and my alarm didn't go off, but I'm feeling good. I'm actually feeling pretty good, all things considered. How bad I was feeling yesterday, late night, no alarm. But point is this whole debate right now, discussion. Ask 1,000 people on the street if they're running BIP 110, if they plan on activating BIP 110 before the block height of 961 something. And I would actually love to do this experiment. I wish that somebody out there would do this experiment right now, just to give Bitcoiners some perspective of where we are right now. Because again, we live in our algorithm. We live in our little echo chamber here. Good and bad, of course, but you still have to acknowledge it for what it is. And I guarantee I would love to see the results of that poll. If somebody could stand on the street and ask 1,000 people, take a sample size of 1,000 people walking by, and ask them if they plan on activating BIP 110 by the block height of 961, whatever it is. How many people do you think realistically would know what you're talking about? And not even that, just like what kind of reaction you would get from them. It wouldn't be like, I haven't put in the time to understand both sides. I haven't really read the BIP yet, the proposal. It would be like, what the hell language are you speaking? So that's where we are. And I think the reminder there is how early we are and how fortunate we are. I wouldn't say lucky, but fortunate we are to be here right now and to be going through this. This is going to be a badge right here on our uniform. It's going to be a badge here. BIP 110 War 2026, or I should say block height 961,000. But so that's what's most fascinating to me. But here's the thing: is like as this evolves, as Bitcoin spreads its way into the mainstream, and more people are paying attention to it, these wars, because this definitely isn't going to be the last attempt to change Bitcoin. There's going to be many, many, many more of these to come, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the cool thing to me is like the bigger this gets, the harder it is to change. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing with the network of how it works is that it's based on consensus. So there's maybe 4 or 5 different wings of Bitcoin. You got the nodes, the exchanges, the users, the miners, the developers. All of these people have to decide that this is worth doing. Not just one small segment of it, but all of them have to agree to change Bitcoin. It's a very fascinating dynamic of how that works, because if you compare it to like our current structure, our current political structure, where you have basically 2 parties, they pretty much operate like a uniparty. I don't think many people would disagree with that. But you got 2 parties, and they got 4 years, and they lay out their policies just like what's happening in Bitcoin right now. They lay out what they're going to change, what they're going to update, and people vote on that. But the problem with that is it's only 4 years, and it's not like the longest chain wins. It's like whoever gets the most votes that day or that month. I guess in America, in a lot of states, it takes a month, and here in Canada too, which also goes to show how illegitimate it is overall and how much they can and have manipulated it through the years. And you can't fake that in Bitcoin. You cannot fake that in Bitcoin. It's either we're changing it or it's staying the same. There's no this or that. It's everybody agrees that this needs to change or it stays the same. And so you understand that as this grows, as the users of Bitcoin, as these 5 different levels of our government in Bitcoin, our governance structure grows, it becomes harder and harder to change because of the chain. So to me, it's a huge upgrade overall to how our society works. And the cool thing is like this isn't the rules for Canada or the US, the laws of the US. This is for the globe. This is for the globe. I really, a lot of people are really up in arms about this whole thing, but to me it's just amazing what we have in front of us and how it works. And we kind of get to see how it works right now. I think that, even though there's going to be some people who are very butthurt in a couple weeks from now, it's going to be a good lesson. And for those people who stick around and go with the longest chain, it'll be a badge of honor and experience. And for the next, time. Oh, Arnie's taking a dump in the yard. Is it just me, or is this a common thing to check out your dog's poop to see if it was normal or runny? Yeah, I guess that's a good way to gauge your dog's health overall, is just to check the poop. But I feel weird watching something poop. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's the moral of my story here. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's start with Rumble today. Let's see what's going on there. I see some action. Backpacker I see over in Rumble said, we analyze our dog poop all the time. Okay, good. I mean, it's you probably should analyze it, but I feel weird watching it because I don't really want to walk all the way over there and check it out. So when he's pooping, I'm just like how many is there? Does it look solid? Is it runny? Is he doing it once or twice or 3 times? But yeah, I guess you have to. It's a good way to monitor health. But we got a couple fiat zaps over to start our Fat Zap Friday today. One from Sharon B. Sharon B's had a big week here. She bought, I think, 4 memberships. Was it 4? 4 membies the other day. Sharon was buzzing. And she sent in $5 today. She said, good morning, Mother Duckers. Good morning, Sharon B. Sats and Sunsets. Might be in the works for Satoshi Hat-Trick here. He's got 2 of 3 so far. He got a membership, which hasn't been claimed yet. So if you're watching on Rumble, just say hello in the chat, and Sats and Sunsets will buy you a membership. You'll become a redneck, a Rumble redneck. All you got to do is say hello, or put a emoji in there, or whatever you want to do. Here's the big pooper himself. Where is he? I hear him. He's just creeping. Usually after his poop, he's flying around. Huh. We'll keep an eye out. We'll monitor the situation here. So Sats and Sunsets bought a membership to be claimed, still yet to be claimed, and sent in $10. $10 fiat zap. Says Fat Zap Friday for hats. Fat Zap Friday for hats. For hats. What does that mean, Sats and Sunsets? Fat Zap Friday for hats. I don't know. You might have to explain that one to me, Sats and Sunsets. It's Friday morning, man. My brain isn't fully functioning right now. Jenny, hands off my Sats with a row of poops. With a huge row of poops. Everybody's pooping around here. It's Friday. Get it out of your system. Arnie did. Arnie knows what's going on. Arnie knows what's going on. Ginger's here. Look at this. Ginger, first in the chat this morning by 6 minutes. Ginger, the chat was quiet to start the show today. Usually there's like 30 messages in there. Today was like 5. Usually Fridays are hot. Usually Fridays we're on fire. I'm just buzzing. Chat's buzzing. Hey, Scotty, where's our website? Okay, look at this. Sam said, what's your plan for August? Sam zapped 110 sats. What's my plan for August? I got a wedding. I got a bachelor party. I'm going to spend as much time as I can outside before it gets cold again. I'll probably do a lot of golf and get ready for our big tournament in September, the Blue Chair. That's my plan for August. Moravian, there he is right there. He sent in a Moravian to... Okay, so I got to give Moravian credit for 3 here. He sent 2 to Arnie the last 2 days, and he sent 1 on the Zap stream today. Scotty, where's our stream? So we got Moravian times 3 Moravians. We got 6-5 sats. Mark, Bob, Stewie with a big zap today. Biggie Smalls says, happy Friday. Looking forward to a weekend with my brother and family at his cottage. Nice. First time in years that all 5 of our boys will be together. Wow. Love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you, Mark. And I hope you have an amazing weekend with the brothers. All 5 of our boys will be together. Oh, I see. So your brother and your kids. I got you. And they're all boys. Wow, that'll be a fun one. What age are they, Mark? Like teenagers or young adults? I feel like you've told me that they're in school or they're adults. I feel that. I could be wrong. Anyways, and look at this BTC Flipper. BTC Flipper. Flip is in the house. She's zapped 88 sats and said, good morning, Jor, with a dolphin. Flipper. Thank you, Flip. 88 sats. That's awesome. Thank you, Flipper. Thank you. And Theus says, congratulations. On what? What did we do? Is this the right place for an early night? No, it's a place for a late night. Okay, here's our stream. Let's see if it's working today. Oh, look at that. Scotty, I just hit refresh. Well, the chat carries over from the day before, too. Zapping from Stream Companion. Have a good show. Scotty, 99 sats. What's going on here? We got Sat O. Who's Sat O? Is that you, Scotty, too? Who's Sat O? Sat Zero. Stream starting soon. Fat Zap Friday. But the stream's not working, though. Let's see. This is what happens, Scotty. Rumble refused to connect. It worked yesterday. And we got to update these buttons, Scotty boy. Come on. What the hell is going on here? We need to fund your development too? Do we need to allocate 15 million to the stream? What's this called? Stream Companion? I'm still confused about how this works and what this is, but anyways, Scotty boy's on it. Same site, it doesn't change. Okay. Gotcha. Mark's got a hockey team, 5 boys. Yeah, no doubt. Full lineup there. You need a goalie, though. Need a tendy. Okay. Let's see if we can get Scotty Boy's stream working here. Jake says, wheels up. Happy Friday. Where are you going? Where are you headed? Wheels up. Or are you just launching into the weekend? Early start for me tomorrow. Okay, Scotty. Well, if we don't see you, if you don't stick around, have a good Friday, buddy. Or I guess Saturday for you. Sats and Sunsets. The Smith. The Smith is in the house today. He's already two of 3. Hey, I should talking Bitcoins and other stuff. I'm going to tweet this out and I'm going to share it on the Nosters today. Okay, who subscribed to the channel? Dominion 03 just started following the channel. Shout out to you, Dominion 03. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Rumble followers are going up. YouTube followers are going down. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. I guess that's what happened when you say things that people don't like. That they don't like. Man, I wish I was on the flip side of this war. Man, I'd be just like Freddy Krueger, the serial killer, said yesterday. Support BIP 110 and watch your analytics go up. Fucking dipshit. Fred Krueger is a dipshit. A dipshit of dipshits. The guy's been pushing shit coins for like the last 2 years, launching his own coins, just being an absolute menace in Bitcoin. But yet, you know, if you say something that the mob agrees with, then all of a sudden you're like Jesus. It's actually embarrassing. But anyways, that's a side story here. Fred Krueger just looks like a guy I wouldn't get along with. You know what I mean? The appearance of him, his actions, his words, the way he presents himself, just not my kind of guy. Not my kind of guy. Okay, we are live, even though it's not working on Nostra. Let's see what happens here. Okay, there we go. Okay, Scotty Boy said, really, let me check. Okay, I'll hit refresh here, Scotty. There you go. Work now. I don't know what you did. Captain's here. Captain says, good morning, visionaries. Happy Friday to all. And to all, a good weekend. Sketchucation's here. Rich, good morning. To you as well. BTC Backpacker says, good morning, beautiful people. Actually, yesterday I grabbed some Flonase. Shout out to everybody who sent in some funds. I think we actually paid for it. It was $8 off. It was $30. And I'm pretty sure we had Robert, Sats and Sunsets, and somebody else who sent in for the Flonase fund. So I think we almost paid for it yesterday. It's kind of sad. An hour of work for a bottle of Flonase. That's where we are at in society right now. An hour of your time for a bottle of Flonase. But you know, it is what it is. That's where we are. BTC Backpacker, good morning, buddy. So I think that's what's happening today is the Flonase. Although I do feel a little tickle right now. There's Mark on Rumble. Good morning, Mark. Kev Key says, listening to 365 Days of Bitcoin in school as I wait for the live. Happy Friday. Man, I think that's such an underrated, underappreciated thing. I really do. I know there's a lot of people who love Bitcoin content here and are actively trying to improve themselves and their Bitcoin knowledge and security. And man, I don't know if you could find a better place than this. You just start crushing these off, man, and I guarantee you, I know it's going to take you some time, but get yourself a notebook. Get yourself a fresh notebook. Get a membership to the school. I know many of you already have one, but if you don't, get yourself a membership to the school as a premium member and head to the classroom. And you got courses. You got the digital homestead course here, which we're on episode 11, and go through that obviously. But the 365 days of Bitcoin, man, there's so much knowledge in here. There's so much information. I don't even know. I would like to know, see some stats on it for somebody who went through the 365 days of Bitcoin, their knowledge before and after. But lots of good info here, man. And they're all like 11 minutes long, 15 minutes long, 12 minutes long. You can just kind of, if you're ever looking through YouTube, like I always do, and there's nothing to watch, you just hop in here. You just hop in here. And you got information like this. Make sure to always have both a functioning hardware wallet or hardware device or a wallet that you can access and back up the recovery phrase. So you need both of those. At all times, if you lose access to either one, replace it immediately. So this is included in the school, this 365 days of Bitcoin. That's what Kev's talking about there. And like I said, as a premium member, you get access to the digital homestead course. You get all the courses in there and the 365 days of Bitcoin course. So there it is right there. We got Nick in the chat. Nick says F&A, 42 sats. He said Fred is a sloppy man. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way to put it. Sloppy. He is sloppy. And somebody zapped 88 sats over on us, right? I don't know who it was, just an NPub. Not just an NPub, but an NPub. We got 22 people on Zapstream. What's going on, Zapstream? Nice to see you all this morning. Happy Friday. Happy frickin' Friday. Captain says, Jor, I have an idea for you to make some extra money, and I want to be your first customer. Oh, wow. What a message that is. You got my attention, man. I have an idea for you to make some extra money, and I want to be your first customer. Could you ever read anything better than that line? Message you on school later this evening. Okay. I'm here for it. BTC Backpacker, giving some foreshadowing here for the show today. Let's get to it here on the backs of Backpackers chat. Ooh, and we got a little milestone here, folks. We got a little milestone here. So as Backpacker says here, we are in the Epoch V. V for Vendetta. V for Victory. V for The Visionaries. V for Ducks Fly Together. And of course, V for Epoch 5. And Vagina. V for Vagina. And it is, the block subsidy is still 3.125 per block. And, but this is the big news of today. I did not know this. This is the big news of today right here, my friends. Supply 20.06, which is up from 0.05 yesterday. So the last Satoshi will be mined as part of a subsidy anyways. The last Bitcoin will be mined in around the year 2140. And today it is 2026, obviously. So what is that? 114 years. So for the first 17 and a half years, we mined 95.52% of the supply, 20.06 million Bitcoin in the first 17 years. That's done. That's gone. And for the next 114 years, there is 0.94 million left, 940,000 Bitcoin left. That's it. That's about a strategy worth of Bitcoin left for the next 114 years. Could you imagine that? That's I think a lot of people discount how much Bitcoin strategy actually has. What are they at now? Like 850 some thousand? What are they at? Strategy.com, is that their website? Yeah. Oh, Sailor's got all the good websites. So they have 843,000 Bitcoin. And for the next 114 years. So think about it this way. 114 years ago was around the time the Federal Reserve was created. 1912, 1913. That was 114 years ago. Jekyll Island in Georgia, where they decided that they were going to fuck up the world for the next 100 years. So that was 114 years ago. What would that be? Your great grandpa was probably in his prime, or maybe even young. So my dad was born 50. His dad would have been born in the 30s. And his dad would have been born in the 10s or 100s. Yeah, so your dad, grandpa, your great grandpa was just being born. I believe. You know, if you're my age-ish, if you're a millennial, your great grandpa was just being born 114 years ago. And if you look out 114 years in the future, we only have 940,000 Bitcoin left to be mined in that time. And that's pretty much what Strategy has. So Strategy has the equivalent of about 100 and some years of Bitcoin issuance. That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. I had never thought about it that way before. Strategy has about 100 years worth of Bitcoin mining, the subsidy, the next 100 years. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Do they have the Bitcoin? Probably. Who's got the keys to it, though? Not them. Who owns the Bitcoin? Whoever holds the keys to it, which I believe is Coinbase, Fidelity. They got a couple different people holding their keys, but I think they gotta make it a priority over this next little while here to get access of those keys and figure out a solution so that they don't have to rely on Coinbase or Fidelity and they can't get rugged. You know, I'm sure if push came to shove and Coinbase, let's say the Coinbase say that they have 800,000 Bitcoin, but they actually only have half of that, you know, just a hypothetical here. I'm sure strategy would have the first claim to it over, you know, the average people. So I don't worry that they'll have ownership to it. They just don't own it. They have a claim to it. Strategy only has a claim to its Bitcoin, and strategy shareholders only have a claim to a claim. So the further away you get from Bitcoin, the more risk you have of getting rugged. That's just the easiest way to put it. The further you are away from the private keys, the higher your chances of being rugged by somebody else. But it's still pretty crazy. That's still an absolutely insane stat. So that's a time chain today. If we look at the Satoshis per dollar, if you got $1, 1 unit of trash, 1 unit of poop, 1 unit of absolute bullshit, you can trade it for 1,562 sats, units of reality, units of freedom, units of sovereignty, units of the best money that humans have ever had access to before. It's a pretty good trade. It's a pretty good trade. And around here, we call that the deal of a lifetime. The deal of a lifetime. So that's the time chain. And Foundry was the winner of the last block there. So for their efforts, for their energy, because you cannot mine a Bitcoin without physical energy, for their contribution of energy to the network, they received with a little bit of luck in there too, but they received 3.125 Bitcoin as the subsidy, plus about 3.6 million in transaction fees for a total reward of 3.1612 biddies. Shout out to Foundry. Let's check on the recent blocks here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks in the last 10 Foundry has hit. Couple for Mara, couple for the Security and Exchanges Commissions pool. Penguin running on Ocean. They didn't get a whole lot of fees for that one. They got 600,000 sats because they didn't want any toxic waste, I guess, in there. So took a pay cut. Toxic waste and another unknown miner. Wow, I'd love to see that. I feel like the last 3 shows we've had an unknown miner. But yeah, it doesn't look like the old. Oh, there's another for 888. Brains. So I was listening to the Bitcoin Spaces yesterday on my way into the city, and they were talking about how messy this could get. I don't think it's going to get messy, but it could. But from my understanding of this, so there's going to be the activation date or height, I should say, not date, the activation block height. And then as soon as there's a block that's mined that BIP 110 rejects because it has toxic waste in it, that's when the chain splits. And then it's a race. Then it's a race to see who can mine the most blocks. And basically what they said was that if let's say that there was 45, I think they used 45% activation, which means that 45% of the hash rate would be allocated to BIP 110 or activating BIP 110. 45% of the hash, BIP 110. And I think they said after 24 hours, they would be 14 blocks behind. So they would have to catch up somehow. And the incentives there for a miner to switch at that point and put themselves further behind becomes less and less. So basically, at least I think two of the bigger miners have to activate BIP 110 for it to have a chance. And then it's a race. I'm actually really excited for this. I know there's a lot of hostility in Bitcoin over it, but I'm actually very excited to watch this whole thing play out. And it sounds like Forrest and I are going to be going live for that activation. Hopefully it's not at a crazy time so we can actually, have people watching it with us. But Forrest and I and maybe a few others are going to be going live for that activation. But the point of that was like, if it's somewhere between like 45 and 55, like if this actually gets a couple miners, it's going to be very messy. It's going to get very messy because it's not just going to be a race, but it's going to be, having to redo the work if you're on the wrong chain and basically miss out on all those rewards that you had and have to switch back to catch up or switch the other way. It's going to be very interesting to watch play out. But where it sits today, it doesn't look like there's much action, much of a chance for the BIP 110 crowd. But either way, I think it's going to be fun to be a part of. Bad Gal B is in the house. She says, "Good morning, y'all." Good morning, Bad Gal B. We got a zap from Mateo, another 88 sad zapper. Thank you, Mateo. And shout out to my friends over on Nostr today. We got a couple fiat zaps to report here. We got the zaps, but we got two zaps here from Praetorian. Praetorian 91, he says, The Guardian says, "Hope you all have a blessed Friday and a fantastic weekend. I've been in the background as of late. Work is picking up." Okay, no worries, Praetorian. You're here every day, man. Appreciate it. Okay, I missed this one. Sats and Sunset said, I'm off for today. Have a good weekend. Zap sent to Riz for Satric. Okay, I'm just going to take his word for it. There's not too many people I trust more than our guy Sats and Sunsets here. So here it is. Sats and Sunsets. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he had a membership, which is still unclaimed, I believe. He had a Fiat Zap, and he had a Fat Zap on this beautiful Friday today. So here it is, the Satoshi hat trick. Satoshi hat trick for our guy Sats and Sunsets. Thank you, my friend. Will we get any more today? Who knows? Satric, Sats and Sunsets. Boom. And Praetorian said, "George, do we have Visionaries hoodies yet?" No, but we should, right? We should. What would we put on it? I have a couple good ideas. I got a couple good ideas for it. But if anybody has other ideas, let me know. Let me know. I'm just seeing this comment here from Columbus. It says, "We need to flush Michael Saylor out. What he came out with yesterday, Bitcoin security, is really making Bitcoiners think." I got some bad news for you, Columbus. I got some bad news for you, my friend. You don't get to decide who uses Bitcoin and who buys Bitcoin and who doesn't. It's a reality that the world isn't used to. In the current version, the old system, if there's enough, if you're close to the money printer, you can cancel people. You can freeze funds. You can censor people. But Bitcoin doesn't work that way, man. Bitcoin doesn't work that way. Whether you like Michael Saylor or not, doesn't really matter. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. And if you think that you should get to decide what goes on the Bitcoin time chain and what doesn't, I got some more unfortunate news for you. The network doesn't care what you think. And unless you can convince the miners in this case, because it seems like the nodes are, there's a lot of start 9 sales lately, but you got to convince the miners that it's in their best interest to activate. And if you can't, Sorry. Away she goes. Away she goes. Good to see you, Bad Gal B. Styles Row, Robert is here. Says, good morning, everyone. TGIF. Good morning, Robert. We got Jenny. Hands off my sats. She says, hey, oh. Working in the background. A lot of people are. It's Friday. And it's working hours. Good to see you, Jenny. And thank you for the poop fiat zap over there. Sketchification with another hand. Is that right? I see two, yeah. 9:10. 9:10 a.m. and 9:20 a.m. Nice. Maria's here. Maria 2500 says, good morning, good folks. Good morning, Maria 2500. What's Maria going to be known as today? That's a question. She's 2500 on Rumble, but usually she changes her alias via Zaps, depending on the day. Praetorian says, good morning, visionaries, working and listening. Good morning, buddy. There's a membership, which I believe is still unclaimed. So if you are watching, if you're one of the 40-some people watching on Rumble today, just say hi, say hello, and you're going to get a free membership courtesy of our guy Sats and Sunsets. Lox Guy says, good morning, Pastor Joe. Good morning, Lox Guy. Good to see you, buddy. Great to see you. Buck 52. Good morning. Fanny says, those all sound like fake news stations. What was I talking about there? Those all sound like fake news stations. Shit, Fanny, what was I talking about? What sounds like fake news? I don't know. Fanny, if you're still in the chat, help me out here. But kind of going back to the Bitcoin Barber, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good morning to you. Kind of going back to this. I got a couple things to share here, a couple of interesting things. So this was this morning. This was about an hour ago. Adam. So this is kind of in line with who was that? Columbus's comment. Adam's talking about the $15 million that there was a large group that contributed to Bitcoin. I think Galaxy was part of it. Sailor was part of it. There was a couple more as well, but they donated they didn't donate. They pledged to donate $15 million to Bitcoin development. And a lot of people are losing their minds over it. The people with Sailor derangement syndrome. But so it made a comment about it. Bitcoin is being lobbied, not in secret, but in broad daylight. And I said, and this is kind of my overall thoughts on it, is like, if you believe $15 million is enough to control the Bitcoin network, why are you holding Bitcoin? Why did you ever buy any Bitcoin? I just think that there's so much of like, it's very hard to explain and kind of weird what's happening here, but it just seems like people are losing their minds. It seems like there's just like mind manipulation happening right now. Just like the way that the Democrats and the Black Lives Matter and the the LGBTQ community, they've just figured out ways to like trigger certain parts of people's brains where they just don't think clearly. It's weird. I don't know how it happens. I don't know what kind of fucking formula it is, but it happens. So it's like, they don't, I don't know. And that's the thing for like the people who are up in arms about this whole thing with Sailor and, Bitcoin's in grave danger. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if BIP 110 fails? Because people have been slinging a lot of shit at Bitcoin lately. The network, the developers, the big holders of Bitcoin, they've been slinging a lot of shit against Bitcoin. And it's like, if this fails, does that mean you're going to sell your Bitcoin? Because you've been shitting on it for the last year. So there's a bit of a dilemma there. Because if it fails, it's like, what are you holding now? You're holding something that you spent the last year bashing. So here's the thing: is like most people in a clear state of mind know that it would take probably tens or hundreds of billions of dollars to actually take control of Bitcoin. And people are out here saying that this $15 million, which was split between like 10 different corporations and even more people involved in it, they think that that's going to somehow control Bitcoin. or have any sort of influence over Bitcoin. $15 million, you think that that's what it is? You know how much $15 million is these days? That's the equivalent of like carrying a $20 bill in your pocket 50 years ago. Like, it's nothing. It's nothing. And if you believe that that's enough to overtake the Bitcoin network, then what the hell are we doing here? Why are you here? The whole point of Bitcoin is that it takes a shitload of energy, of reality, to make a change to the network, a significant change to the Bitcoin network at a consensus level. Policy is different. You can choose to run whatever policy that you want to, so you can decide which transactions go into your mempool and which ones don't. But at a consensus level, it's very difficult to change. And $15 million isn't even a drop in the bucket of what it would take to actually have control of Bitcoin. But at the same time, you should be skeptical about it. You just don't need to bend your mind over it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, as Bitcoiners, we're kind of skeptical of everything by nature. But to be just saying things like this, it's silly. That's what it is. It's just silly. And the other thing here too is we got a comment here from CC, who said, "Dang, you cooked with this question." And I thought people in the chat here would like this one. CC is the growth lead at Crinkle, living in based in Nashville, North Carolina. Nice. But there's a lot of people here who are fans of Crinkle. Use Crinkle. I know Jenny's a big Crinkler. Prove your spend and earn Bitcoin, turning receipts into digital gold. I'm not really crazy about that, because Bitcoin's not digital gold. Bitcoin is not digital gold. Bitcoin's much closer to digital real estate than digital gold. Gold's junk, man. Gold's fucking ineffective, old, heavy, useless. It's useless. Can't do anything with it. And the supply is going up every year. There's hundreds of thousands of tons in the ocean, hundreds of thousands of tons in the mountains, probably even more in space. It's not scarce. It's not fixed. It's always increasing in supply. Bitcoin is not digital gold at all. I know people, it's easy for the average person to kind of grasp that, but I think it's a bad narrative. I don't think that Bitcoin is comparable to gold even. It's infinitely better. We shouldn't reduce ourselves to gold. Gold bugs up in arms everywhere. Sharon B says, BIP 110, what would Zeus do? What would Zeus do? That's a good question, Sharon B. What would Zeus do? I'm going to guess the I don't know if you mean the Zeus the person or Zeus the wallet, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that the founder of Zeus wallet is not interested in BIP 110. That's what it seems to me. Just kind of like, again, looking at this from an outsider's perspective, because you have to. You can't get yourself too far on either side of the scale here. You should just look at it for what it is. It's amazing that we have the ability to do this without any sort of central party involvement. But you look at kind of from an outsider's perspective here, this is what I see. And you can, what's that website where it shows who's signaling and who isn't? Does anybody know that offhand? On Twitter? But it just seems to me that the Bitcoiners who have been here for a very long time, like the OGs, the creators of the Zeus wallets, the creators of the Sparrow wallets, the OGs all are kind of like, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want, but you're not going to change Bitcoin. A lot of them aren't even really entertaining the topic of it because they just know it's not going to work, or they think that anyways. I'm not here to say whether it is or whether it's not. And then on the other side of it, you have kind of just like a couple key influencers that I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but are somewhat newer to Bitcoin, and they're all like, we want this way. These are our demands. we don't want spam, we don't want core, we don't want sailor, we don't want any of this. And the other side's just like, okay, good luck. That's kind of how I see it. And okay, Sketchucation here says wicked smart Bitcoin. Thank you. This isn't what I was thinking, but there's one on Twitter where you can actually look at it's like red, neutral, green. Okay, so this is signaling to, these are blocks, the blocks that we're signaling. Is this what this is? So this is the mandatory, oh, right here, mandatory signaling period begins on this difficulty. I guess it begins on the difficulty adjustment. I didn't know that. I think, maybe not. So we got 959, 615, and where were we? We don't got very much left in this difficulty adjustment here, and then we got a full one. And it looks like this does begin at the difficulty adjustment. So we got a little bit left. It looks like about maybe a day and a half left in this difficulty adjustment. And then we got another full 2 weeks-ish period. And then it starts signaling. But this isn't the one that I was looking for here. But you can see that it's exactly 1% of the hash rate right now is signaling to BIP 110. 1%. So you look at that and you say, okay, well then BIP 110 has no chance of succeeding, but that's not necessarily true. Because if there are 2 to 3 bigger miners that signal BIP 110 at this date here and this block height, then it's game on. It's game on. So we won't know. We won't have any idea of what's actually playing out. This is just kind of a guess right now. But I want to see that other one. I want to see the X accounts signaling. No, that's not it. It's on Twitter. I forget what it's called though. Someone help me out here. Oh well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's fun. We're having fun. BTC Fanny Packer says, my dog poops on top of bushes. What? How the hell is that possible? Oh yeah, I got to sneeze here. Well, we made an hour yesterday. I don't think we even made 1 minute without a sneeze. So we're trending. I don't understand that, Fanny. How the hell would it poop on top of bushes? But a backpacker says we analyze our dog poop all the time. Poop analyst, Josh. Good morning, buddy. Check my kids' poop and the dogs. Oh, that's probably a good call, hey? Captain says, Sharon, did you try out that catfish bait? What was that? Licorice or something? Forget what that was now. Flip. Wow. Fanny absolutely sewers Flip. Fanny does Flip dirty. Says Flip takes, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to dirty Flip. I'm not going to say that on live stream. Fanny says Flipper is the best. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Backpacker says, Jake the Hick, just dent out my Bitcoin hat. Can't wait to receive it. Oh, just sent out my Bitcoin hat. Shout out to Jake. Yes, shout out to Jake is right. Who let the poops out? Funny when the dog... Yeah, it is. It is funny. I just love watching dogs, even dogs pooping. Ralph says, just checking in. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, for anybody who's watching on Rumble, just checking in. Just glad to be here. Happy Friday. Just checking in. That's all we're looking for. And if you got anything you want to talk about, throw it in the chat. We're open call. You know what we'll do? You know what we'll do? I'm going to do this special for today. We're going to be here for about another 40 minutes, I'd say. But I'm going to give people, if they want to, this literally just came out of left field in my brain. But if people want to this morning, I'll share the link to StreamYard. And if you want to come on and ask a question, or if you want to raise a point about BIP 110 or anything, I'll let you come up on the stage for today only. I want to start doing that more though. I like the idea of that. I love the live chat, man. I love the interaction of it. So this could come back to bite me in the ass, but who knows? Who cares? So there it is. There's the link if you want to pop on. I'll share it on YouTube. I'll share it on Zapstream. And I'll share it on, we'll see if anybody takes the bait. See if anybody takes the bait. We'll be here. It's my favorite part about Bitcoin is just how transparent it is. And that's what I resonate most with in life is transparency. That's why I think I was naturally gravitated and drawn towards Bitcoin. Not with everything, but I do think that we've lived in a world for 100 years now where we've had zero transparency with anything, and we've just kind of been programmed into doing things without being able to ask why. And really, that's what this whole movement is. It's a movement back towards transparency and truth and fairness, not equality, but fairness, and actually, and proof of work, requiring real energy to create, not just, who you know or what family you were born into, but, if you want wealth, you got to work for it. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. I want to get through a couple different things here, but there it is. If you want to join, hop on stage. I've never done this before. Maybe we'll never do it again, but for this rare window of 37 minutes, you can jump on and say hello. If you want to, we'll see who does. See who's brave enough to come on. Yeah, we got a lot of poop chat going on here. We got a lot of poop chat here. You can clear the chat if you want. Oh, cool. I didn't know that, Scotty. Let it rock. Let it roll. Okay. We got Backpackers says, Jake, I love the logo, brother. That's my hat. I want to see it. Bobo McHooah says, good morning. Just say the truth, man. Smart people will follow. You can't save everyone. I agree with that. That's a great point. Nostr Live has been shoddy for everyone, I think, lately, Bad Gal B. I don't know what the trick is. But yes, Sats and Sunset says, I'm off for today. Have a good weekend. Zap sent to Riz for the Sat trick. Okay, let's check this out as we wait on any contestants. I don't know if Columbus is still here or not, but Columbus, if you want to jump on and chat, let's do it. Let's do this. What was I doing? Oh, Zaps. Let's check the Zaps. Let's see how fat Zap Friday we are today. Don't let me down here, folks. By the way, I decided yesterday, because when I drive in the city to golf, I have a lot of time to think. And yesterday was unfortunate. My phone wasn't working very well. So I was in and out of service the whole time. I couldn't really listen to much. So I had more time to think. But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start deciding every day, instead of doing like shots of espresso like we've been doing, I'm going to change it every day. So it's going to be a unit of measurement of something. I'm not going to say the name, but it'll be like a shot of espresso or I don't know. I got to come up with some, I guess. I didn't think that far ahead of ideas for it, but I'm not gonna use espresso every day because we don't need the creepy crawling AIs listening to all the words here and decoding what we're doing. Because I can't see this lasting forever, and I'm gonna make a video about this in the coming days. But it's just kind of a sign of the times of where we are right now, and we're probably getting away with some things right now that we might not be able to get away with in 5 years from now or less. The flip side of that, I do think that there's also a part of the simulation where we actually fork off and we don't, the system just kind of self implodes and people gravitate towards the new earth, the sovereign individual thesis, the cyber economy. I do see both. Hey, look at this. The backpacker. Sept 1776 says from the Packer family. Thank you, backpacker, and thank you to the amazing Packer family. Backpacker, Fanny Packer, Anonymous, the Tiger Woods of Idaho, Anonymous, and Flip. She's the radio maker. She's going to be. I think Flipper's got all three of them. I think have very bright futures. I really do, and I'm not just saying that to be nice. I really do, because when you're building things and when you're learning these skills at such a young age, that's going to do massive things down the road. And so Flip's been building radios. I'm going to have one here somewhere. I don't know where yet. I got a couple ducks up there, and one of these ducks is going to be a surprise later this year. We'll see. But we got our sign here that everybody loves, Action Cures Fear. I love that myself too. Got the visionaries here that Cedar Sats created for us, a painting of Arnie, a couple hats there from Josh, Make America Great Again hat, an official one. We got a bunch of stuff here. Our miner, we're mining some Bitcoins there, and we're going to have Flipper's radio. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Probably where it's in view. But yeah, Flip the radio maker. And then Hodler. Hodler was a celebrity and is. She was a Nostr legend after she redid American Hodl's little, what is it? Not stacking hard enough thing. That was she went viral. Viral Hodler. So yes, thank you to the BTC Backpacker family. God bless. God bless. Oh, missed one here. Sorry. I saw a Bitcoin ATM at my corner gas station yesterday. Apparently it's been there for over 2 years. Why would someone use it? A Bitcoin ATM. Why would someone use it? Yeah, I don't really know either. Especially if you have to KYC yourself with a camera on there. Most require a phone number or some sort of verification. But there's ways around it, right? Like you could just get a burner number and wear a mask. You could still do it. So I think that there's a need for ATMs. It's just most people don't use them properly. Hey, look at this. Look at this. Gunman. Gunman says, Gunman91 says, how lit is the Rumble chat versus YouTube? It's great, I would say, because you can say whatever you want on there. There's nobody to censor you. You can share links. You can swear. You can call me a dipshit. You can do whatever you want. Still, nobody's taken up my offer to hop on stage here, though. Why? I'm fun to talk to. I'm a fun guy. Okay, I missed this one. How can you move the Satoshi 1 million Bitcoin when you need a public key to attack with quantum computer? How can you move the Satoshi 1 million Bitcoin when you need a public key to attack with quantum computer? I honestly don't know what that means. How can you move the Satoshi 1 million Bitcoin when you need a public key to attack with quantum computer? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Next question. But the one thing I would say about that with all this quantum stuff, there's people that, man, there's Bitcoin's funny because you have people who have been in the space for, since the beginning for 15 years. 15 years people have been in Bitcoin through the ups and the downs and the wars and the ETFs, the corporations, the treasuries, the shit coins, the block size wars, the BIP 110 wars. And then you got people who have been here for a year or two, and they just don't really understand it yet. And I don't blame them. I don't hold it against them. It took me a very long time to wrap my head around Bitcoin. And I still feel like I'm, miles away. But I understand the work that I put into Bitcoin, because I got to a point where I was like, this is a big thing. This is to me, it was a society level change. And I just saw so much potential in this space and really not that many people paying attention. So I actually left my career. I quit my job in 2021, which is coming up to 5 years now. And I've been doing this like full time ever since. Not just doing shows every day full time but really immersing myself in this whole thing, trying to learn as much as I can about it. And I'm still a million miles away from a deep understanding of it, I think, anyways. And I think if anybody tells you otherwise, they're full of shit. But the thing is like most people, they hear these things and they kind of like do their best to understand it. Like one of these things is like, well, if quantum hacks Satoshi's wallet with 1 million Bitcoin in it, then Bitcoin's going to be screwed because all these coins are going to flood onto the market or whatever it is. But what people don't understand, that there's some nuance there, is like Satoshi doesn't have 1 million Bitcoin in one wallet. So even if quantum did get to a point where they start picking off some of these old wallets, they can pretty much just do one wallet at a time. And how many wallets with 50 Bitcoin each divided by 1 million Bitcoin, how many wallets would quantum computing have to hack to get all of Satoshi's Bitcoin? They might get one or two, maybe. Nothing's guaranteed yet. This is all still hypothetical down the road. Potential, but not guaranteed. And so that's the disconnect, that people think that if quantum computing hacks Satoshi's wallet, then it's game over. But even if they get one or two, that's maybe 100, 150 Bitcoin max. There was a public company the other day that announced that they were selling all 668 Bitcoin that they had. It was Mark Moss's Satsuma. And the market didn't even flinch for 700 Bitcoin. A public company dumping all their coins. Market didn't move. So it's one of those things where people think. And the other thing too, and I don't want to get too far into the story because it's not really my story to tell, but I heard a story the other day from somebody that I'm very closely associated with, where he talked to somebody who believed that if BIP 110 doesn't activate, then people are going to start uploading actual pictures onto the blockchain, like photos. And I know that kind of sounds stupid to anybody who has been in Bitcoin for a while, but I really believe that that's not a single use person there. It's not just a one-off. I think that there's a lot of people out there who believe that if BIP 110 doesn't activate and doesn't succeed, then people are going to be able to put literal images onto the time chain, like an image. So the maximum with BIP 110 or not, I think, is 1 megabyte. And if you look at your last image, I know you can reduce the size of them, but the last photo that I have in my phone here is 4 megabytes. So people think that they're going to be able to actually upload an image and you can see it. There's people that believe that. So Bitcoin's weird. It's funny because there's so many people in Bitcoin and so many different perspectives and incentives that they have, and so many different timelines for how long they've been in Bitcoin. And it's just one of those things where it just feels like there's more emotional driven narrative right now versus logical and technical. The problem that I find with the technical side of things is that unless you have like a good grasp of what's going on here, you're not going to understand a word. And I think that that's the whole disconnect here, right? Like Bitcoin Core receives funding to develop Bitcoin and to find security issues, to patch any necessary holes in the code. That's what they get paid to do. They don't get any sort of funding for a marketing team. They don't get much funding overall. But they don't have any money to allocate. Like there's no corporation involved here. There's no board of directors or shareholders where you can issue shares and increase your budget in certain things. It's like they get what they get for grants, and they allocate that to developing Bitcoin, to doing their job. They don't have a marketing team that comes out and says, hey, we're making this change to our software. This is the reason for it. Should they? Yes, I do believe that they should. It's just we're not there yet. And like I said, in the future, this whole thing is going to grow, and it's going to look much different than it does today in a decade from now. There's going to be way more money flowing into this. There's going to be way more people who think that they get to decide what Bitcoin is and what it isn't. But as that happens, it's going to be harder and harder to change Bitcoin. That's the perfect design of Bitcoin to me. Is that you have to come up with something really good if you want to make any changes to this thing. And everybody has to agree on it. Otherwise, it's just going to fail or fork off. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool network. Micah's here. Good morning, Micah. TDS, SDS, and CDS. There's a lot of sufferers from all three of those. Like I said, I would like to have the formula of how to fuck with people's minds that much that it just controls their days. Nah, I wouldn't. That's too much power. That's too much power. The god Zeus. Gotcha. I would say both. Both Zeus, the god, and Zeus, the wallet, would be on one side. Bitcoin humbles you. It will shake out the morons. I agree. Fanny says, Jor, Flipper says she loves you. Flip. Oh man, Flip's been on my Flip's definitely been on my team for the last little while. I love me some Flip. I can't wait to meet the backpacker family. I cannot wait. I thought it would be this summer. I really did. I thought we would make something work, but I guess we still got a couple months. But I was kind of hoping that they would never be able to send my radio and they would have to drive it here and personally deliver it. So thank you, Flip, for the shout out and for the 88 sats you sent earlier today. Chuck with a little Bitcoin here. I got you, Chuck. Okay, I should, speaking of Chuck, I should check the zaps before we get too far behind here. So shout out to Flip, the young money billionaire, Flip herself. Spreading love, man. There's nothing you can teach, nothing more important than teaching your kids to spread love in a world that's deeply in deep search of it. Everybody, it seems like most people would rather spread hate than love these days. But it takes a rare one to spread love instead. It should be easy, but it's for some reason it's not. Wow, look at this, Sharon B. Sharon B. absolutely buzzing here. Sharon B. might have got a hat trick here. Okay, so we got 5,000 from Maria, 5K today. Thank you, Maria. God bless. We got 99 from Scotty Boy. We got 110 from Sam. And here's the fat zap from Sats and Sunsets. Says, show 71 away from home next week. Probably won't make the streams. What the heck are we going to do here without the castle maker? Sats and Sunsets. So thank you, my friend. That was for the Satoshi hat trick. And we got 3 zaps here from Sharon B. 3 fat zaps here from Sharon B. Sharon B's been hot. Hot. 3 fatties from Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. There's Moravian zap. We got Marks. We got BTC Flipper. Look at that. Flip. Laser eyes. The laser eyes. And we got a big one here from Praetorian. Is Praetorian going to get a hat trick today? A sat trick, I should say. Sharon B gifted a membership. Gunman got it. Sharon B also sent in a zap. There we go. Sharon B with a sat trick. Chalk it up, baby. Chalk it up. Here we go. This is for Sharon B. And I just realized that I had BTC Fanny Packers comment about dogs pooping while that was on. Sorry, Sharon. Sharon would appreciate that, though. Fanny said, Drew, our dog stands on his front legs like a handstand yoga pose and then poops, shats on top of the bushes. No way. That's not real, is it? That's crazy. That's insane. Okay, nobody's taken me up on the offer yet. Maybe nobody has anything to say. Who knows? Sharon says, Captain, not yet. Been raining here on the weekend, so hopefully Sunday will be clear skies for Kool-Aid. That's what it was. Kool-Aid marinated catfish bait. Gunman says, odd watching you on here. How are you liking it so far? How's your experience on Rumble? How's your experience? And look at this. We have another sat trick to report. The third one of the day. We got one from Sats and Sunsets. We got one from Sharon B. Sharon B. Good. Sharon B. for Sharon Beautiful. And we got one from our guy, Praetorian, the Guardian himself. He sent in a Fad Zap, which I got to read right away, a membership, and now, or a Fiat Zap, two of them actually, and now a membership. So here's another sat trick. This one's for Praetorian. Here, let me take, I'll leave it on here. Who cares? Raise the roof, baby. Raise the roof. Praetorian with his Fad Zap, he said, good morning, Jordan. Visionaries on break. Want to send in some value. Don't forget to like the button. Thumbs up. Kind regards, Praetorian. Oh, yeah, let's check this out. What do we got here? We got 40 people over on Rumble right now, and we've had 18 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. Shout out to Jenny Legendary for the thumbs down. Love to see that. So thank you, Sats and Sunsets, Sharon B, and Praetorian for making things happen today. Jake's image. Oh, shit, I didn't see that. Jake's image is the hat. Jake, where are you? Oh, right there. Bitcoin. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Bitcoin. Love that. Jake's image is a hat. Gunman says, how lit is the Rumble chat versus YouTube? There's Sharon B's membership right there. Gunman got it. And says, thanks. Oh, that was from Sats and Sunsets, though. So I think there's some more memberships flowing around over there. Cool kids are here. Pre-planning also cures free. That's true. But I mean, pre-planning is action. You can plan all you want to, but unless you actually do it, do what's in your plans, then it's useless. So that, to me, would be action. Taking your preparation, your planning to the action phase. Backpacker said we would be, but driving on a... Okay, no problem, no problem. Gunman said, I'm ugly. You don't want me to hop up on stage. That's, what movie is that from? Is that Michael Keaton? No. It looks familiar. And don't ever say you're ugly. What the hell does that mean? You're ugly. That's a crazy thing to say. You should never say one bad word about yourself ever, under any circumstances. Never, ever, 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 ever say anything bad about yourself. People are their own worst enemies, man. I had like a 2-hour, it was way too long, but I felt bad for him. And he just wasn't, I don't know, he wasn't getting it. And of course there were some beers and some whiskeys involved in it, but man, there's just this very talented guy that I know. Very talented guy. Like he's known everywhere. Everybody around here knows him. But he's a bigger guy. He's like big. And so he just has a very, very negative self-image. Very negative. And it came up. It's not just like I went up to him and said, "Hey, you know, what are you doing here? You should be more than you are." He basically came up to us and introduced himself. Like I knew who he was, but he introduced himself as something that really just set me off. And he said something very negative towards himself and something positive towards us. And it was almost just like his way of, I don't know. I don't really know the purpose of doing that. It's like, I don't know why people feel the need to talk badly about themselves. It just, I don't understand it. Because the impact of that, when you speak negative words or have negative thoughts towards yourself, I know it's hard to stop thoughts, and but you can be very mindful of how you speak about yourself. And it's just like the conversation I had is like, man, the only thing that is holding you back from doing what you do at a very high level is your own self-image about yourself. If you could somehow get past that, and it's not an easy thing to do, it's really not. But I said, if you could somehow get past that, man, you could be 100x in the ranks of where you are today. Oh, I don't want to say the industry and whatever else, but it's just all his self-image of himself. And it's not even true. Is he overweight? Yeah, but you can fix that. You can't fake the work that he's put in and the talent that he has and the potential that he has. You can't fake that. You can't change that. And you can't take that away from him. But man, it's just like, why would you can't speak negatively about yourself. If there was one thing I think that I would want to be, if my main takeaway from the show that people that watch here, sometimes every day, sometimes once in a while, occasionally, but that's what I would want my main message to be, is that you have to love yourself. You have to. I know it's difficult, but you have to. And it's almost like tricking yourself into it, but it's not at the same time, because you have to do the work so that you believe it yourself, and you have to pay very close attention to how you speak about yourself. You shouldn't, it's a very doable thing to just never, every time you have a thought of saying, and again, it's not something that's going to change overnight. It takes a lot of practice and repetition, but you just stop yourself. Anytime you're about to say something negative about yourself, you just stop. And eventually it builds into a habit. And eventually you stop saying negative things about yourself, because your self-image is truly everything. And it's kind of applicable today for the show, because I titled the show, Stop Chasing Money and Build Infinite Value Instead. And this was kind of the concept of it. And this was the reset that I was talking about. It's a reset in your own programming. And it's this right here. This so this is a concept from our favorite book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. So this is the reset here, the traditional mindset versus the new framework, the Gikandi. But it says, when you detach the concept of wealth from currency, your entire operational focus shifts. I would say your entire internal software changes. That's the reset that you have to do. So the traditional mindset of most people here, this is like the old earth. And you're probably going to get tired of me saying that and referring to that, but that's what it is, I believe anyways. And so that's what I'm going to run with. But it says, how do I acquire more money so I can finally feel secure and valuable? I mean, if you've never thought that before, I don't think you're a human being. That I've had that thought so many times in my life, and it's actually what led me to become an accountant, was that kind of mentality. How do I acquire more money so I can finally feel secure and valuable? So that's kind of like the old way of thinking. That's the old earth. But the new one here is, how do I build and refine my internal value, which again, kind of tying into exactly what I'm saying here. Your self-image is a big component of your internal value. How do I build and refine my internal value and state of consciousness so that currency naturally flows to balance the equation? So think about that. Read that a couple times. How do I build and refine my internal value and state of consciousness so that currency naturally flows to balance the equation? Which means you need to have a very positive self-image, but you don't get that by accident. You can help yourself with it, but you can't totally fake that. But faking it is part of it as well, which is kind of the weird part. But you got to do work. You have to focus on improving your skills and doing things that you actually enjoy so that you can maximize your output here and your time. Your very scarce time here on earth. You got to be doing stuff that you enjoy, because that's the only thing that you're ever going to be good at. And when you're good at it, that's the balance here. How do you balance the equation? So you build yourself up, you become so valuable, you help so many people that eventually it just flows to you. There's nothing that can stop that possibly. That's the new framework here. And where does it begin? It begins with you. It begins with you making a decision right now. I gotta sneeze. That was a very inopportune time for a sneeze. I was deep into that one. Crap. So where does it begin? That's where I was. Where does it begin? It begins with you. It begins with a decision today that this is your new framework. This is how I'm going to look at the world now. This is going to be how I operate. You have to decide that. Nobody else can. You can't rely on anybody else or any other thing to do that for you. It has to be your decision. And you move forward with that framework. And then the first step there after that is doing the work. You have to put in the work. And that's why Bitcoin is very much in line with the universe and of nature, because it requires proof of work. Bitcoin is based on this proof of work ethos. So you do the work. And at the same time, you're building up your self-image, your internal value. You compound it every single day. There's no days or weeks or months that you just like stop doing it. This has to be a daily thing. Has to. Are you going to miss some days? Are you going to, not be your best some days? Of course. But the point is that it's always top of mind. And you do it long enough where it reprograms, it resets your internal operating system. And then you're so valuable, your self-image, the energy that you give off, there's no other choice than for that to flow back to you. Again, kind of piggybacking off what we were talking about yesterday, the universe keeps perfect score. So if you do something of value for somebody else, anything, you do something of value for them, eventually it's going to flow back to you. Eventually, the universe is perfect at keeping score. And so it might not happen in a week or in the usual 2-week pay periods that we're used to. It might not even happen in a couple of years, but it will happen. And so you keep adding deposits to it. You keep adding value and adding more and more and more. And that's where you want to get to. That's the goal. The goal is not to try to acquire more money so that you can feel secure and valuable. You want to become valuable so that money and currency and sats flow to you. It's a totally different mindset framework. And so that was a perfect lead into it there, which is the self-image here. Yogi's here, says Jor. What's up, man? What's up, Yogi? The Accu Yogi. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you for a while. F.A. Pizzetta says, Jor, what's your thoughts on 110? Good. It's a good question, man, or woman. But that's it. Hey, we got a new subscriber. Who is it? 2 new ones. 3 new ones today. Wow, Rumble's buzzing. We got Gunman91 just subscribed 30 minutes ago. And we had you Dominion earlier today, an hour ago. And then it looks like we got Neo Roxas just started following the channel. So good morning, Neo. Shout out to the new subscribers there. God bless. Thanks for being here on Rumble. This is what I was doing. I don't know if you're still here. F.A. Petza? F.A. Pizzetta? That's what it is. F.A. Pizzetta. I'm going to share the video that I did this week. Live, it was BIP 110 reaction. Right here is a 3-hour show. So if you're not into 3-hour shows, then I can't help you much because it's not a real one-line answer of how I feel about it. But I will do this for you. I will give you the link for the video that we did on Monday. Was that on Rumble, this question? No, YouTube. Okay, Backpacker says, quantum computing will fail. If anything, annihilate the low-hanging fruit first. 100%. Hundo P. AD says, George, do you run a node? I do. AD, I think you know that, don't you? I do run a node. I run an economic node, not to the level of Coinbase, but I do run an economic node, and I run knots. I run knots. So it is possible. It is possible to run knots and not activate BIP 110. There are people out there who are doing that, and not everybody's captured. Not everybody's a pedophile. You have the ability to make your own decisions. And I will tell you this, though. If this continues, I'm probably going to switch back to Core soon. I'm probably going to switch back to Core soon because although I do like having the ability to customize my, my own settings in there, I like that ability and the feature for Bitcoiners. I just don't agree with the approach that the knots guys are taking with this whole thing. I don't like the slurs. I don't like the name calling. I don't like the way that they're just riling up this group of people. It's dangerous. I see it as very dangerous. I know a lot of people disagree with that, and especially the ones who are on BIP 110 side. It's just, it doesn't align with me at all. The way that they're going about it is not the way to do it. They're using emotional arguments. They're using analogies so that people, that don't have a real technical knowledge can try to make sense in their favor. But the analogies are dangerous. The analogies are dangerous. And my example of this, the example that I gave, I don't know if it was on Twitter or if it was on the show, but one analogy, and I've seen this a couple times now. It's funny because you hear like there's a new Crater video or there's a new mechanic video, and then all of a sudden the whole group of people have these all the same talking points, the same analogies. And so the analogy is like, my argument was that I don't feel like BIP 110 solves anything. I know that there are already ways that people can go around the BIP 110 filters and put spam into the blockchain. So it's not effective in doing that. It might help a little bit. It might. We don't know. It might help a little bit. But it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to stop spam. And this is not my opinion here. This is not my opinion. But so the analogy is that, well, Jor, if you put locks on your door or you put security cameras outside your house, you're not going to stop every burglar, but it is going to help. It's going to add more friction there. And it's a valid analogy. It's easy for people to understand that and say, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we do this? But the analogy falls very short because it doesn't it's not based around Bitcoin. Bitcoin's very different than just throwing out random analogies that just so people can understand it. Because my argument back was that me adding a lock on my door or putting a security camera outside my house doesn't compromise the foundation of my house. So putting a lock on the door or adding a security camera, that doesn't compromise the foundation of my house that I'm securing. But when you start making changes to the consensus level of Bitcoin, you don't know what all the implications of that are going to be. And you give route for people to make changes in the future in this same way that BIP 110 is done. So to me, that is the foundation of Bitcoin, is that it's very difficult to change. The foundation of Bitcoin to me is that nobody gets to decide, no group of people gets to decide what goes in on the time chain and what doesn't. Nobody gets to decide that. That's a decentralized network. So that's the foundation of Bitcoin to me. And if this activates, that changes the foundation of Bitcoin at a consensus level. So that's the argument there. And so they're just kind of like running off the emotions of people, which has been effective clearly, but it's not going to be effective in the long term here. In about 2 weeks from now, they'll see the difference between signaling something and reality. But I just think it's dangerous. And I wasn't going to, talk about it because I just didn't really see the need to. But I really feel like there's going to be innocent people here who think that they're doing the right thing, lose their life savings because of it, when it doesn't do a damn thing. And in fact, I would argue that it actually compromises the foundation of Bitcoin going forward. So that's kind of like a TLDR. There's more points, obviously, but that was the TLDR on that one. So I'm running knots now. I don't think I will be in the near future. It doesn't align with me. Their approach to it, their ideas, their ideologies, it doesn't agree with me. Even though, you could say, well, it's still a better client, which it might be, or not a client, implementation. But, Core's been around for 17 years, and I'm not necessarily pro Core. I think that Core really fucked up a lot of things. Not that they fucked up the policy changes. I don't think that it was as big a deal as people thought it was. It was just how they handled it, how they were speaking to people, how they were doing things kind of in the dark. But the thing about Bitcoin is it's an open source protocol. So even if there's conversations that happen behind closed doors, it's still out there for everybody to review. You can't just force changes without, backdooring people. So the main reason why I would shift from knots back to Core is because I'm pretty sure if this whole thing fails, they're not going to continue knots, like upgrading knots. I'm pretty sure Luke said that. I could be wrong about that. So then I'm going to be on a dead implementation. And my wish for Bitcoin is that we had 3, 4, 5 different implementations of it. Because right now we're kind of like two isn't very good. 2 isn't very good. And again, the whole thing's going to evolve here. Bitcoin is just a baby or a teenager. These are the kind of things that make Bitcoin even stronger and have in the past. And so it is what it is. It's just time. We got to go through this kind of stuff. It sucks at the time, but long term, this is really how it has to be. Core will soon attract lobbyists and bad actors in a big, bad way. Corruption will always be a thing. 100%. 100%. I don't know, man. I could spend hours talking about this because I've been thinking about it a lot. This isn't just me on a whim or me, being influenced by somebody else. This is my own thoughts here that I'm trying to speak of. Mark, sorry, man. I'm late here. I'm late to this one. Said, my boys are 20 and 23. My nephews are 18, 20. Okay, that's what I thought. Spreading my father's ashes at the family cottage this weekend. Many good memories of Grandpa and the 5 boys at the cottage. Love that. Love that. Man, the cottage that we have here, my grandpa 1 was 10 minutes west, and my other grandpa 2 was about 5 minutes southeast of here. So we got a lot of good memories out here too, and so much good that it actually made me move back here and live here. So I definitely understand that. I definitely understand the feeling there. That's awesome, Mark. Sin Deezy's here. Sin, how you doing, buddy? Fanny said, Jor, I wouldn't pass the border. Yeah, if Canada knew what they were doing, they wouldn't let you into the country. But I'd show up. I'd show up and get you through. Okay, Sharon B, how come you didn't remind me to drink some water today? Praetorian with a Memby. This Waltz, there. This bottle's too big. Nothing compared to frickin' who's the big bottle boys there? Jerry has a huge bottle, and Robin has a massive cup. They make them look small. Sin Deezy with a membership. Look at that. God bless, Sin. Thank you, brother. Sin Deezy with a Memby on YouTube. Thank you, Sin. Look at this gunman. He's using his free speech over on Noster. Gunman says, I forgot to say fuck Elizabeth Warren. And also forgot to say long live the Second Republic of Texas. So Sharon B said there's 2 memberships still up for grabs over in Rumble. Sin says Riz full check, Jor. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, Sin. I've been missing this. So Praetorian was the last one here that we looked at. Thank you, Praetorian. We had 88 from Flip, anonymous one, and Mateo. And then Scotty Boy sent 99 sats. Thank you, Scotty. And finally, we had Cindy. Yeah, if you've been enjoying the conversation today, again, we got no sponsors. And that's why I actually feel so, I don't, how can I say this? There's a lot of people talking about BIP 110 who have a lot of skin in the game. Either way, both sides of the aisle, BIP 110 and those who oppose it. And again, it's not BIP 110 versus core here. I think that a lot of people really believe that that's the case as well. It's not or core, but it's BIP 110 or not. There's no core involved in there. Core doesn't have the ability to change Bitcoin at a consensus level. They can update their implementation of it, which is a policy level change, but core has no ability to change Bitcoin at a consensus level. So I see it everywhere on Twitter, on YouTube. It's fuck core, run BIP 110. These are 2 different things. Oh my God, look who showed up. Look who it is, folks. What an entrance. What an entrance, Arn. Hey, buddy. It's hot here. He's panting. I'm getting hot too. You can see the sweat right here. Okay. Well, it is Friday, which means we got a big day here. Sorry, Sin. Got sidetracked there. But yeah, the reason why I feel comfortable talking about this stuff is because I have no influence. No influence. I'm not influenced by anybody. These are just my thoughts. And you can take them or leave them. You can disagree with me. I'm sure many do. I've had probably 50 people unsubscribe to the channel in the last week. But, it's more important to me that to speak how I feel versus try to appease one side. So I don't have any sponsors here, and that's where all these memberships and sats are coming in, because that's what keeps the show going here. So if you've been enjoying it, either side of the aisle today, you can support just like Sin did. So we got an 1845 zap. Speaking of Texas, gunmen will like that one. 1845 from Sin Deezy. And we got the 1776 from the Backpacker family. And a big one from David T. David T with a fat David T zap today. Yeah, Jen, thanks for the thumbs down. Thanks for the frickin' thumbs down. Since said it's usually a defense mechanism due to insecurity. Plus, it's a misplaced sense of taking the power away from giving others the ability to talk negative about you by doing it first. So you're talking about why people speak negatively about themselves. It's a defense mechanism due to insecurity. Yep, that's for sure. Sin, what are you doing on YouTube, man? Plus, it's a it's a misplaced sense of taking the power away from giving others. Yeah, so they're getting ahead of it. I got you. Which can be effective in certain ways, I think. Like Eminem was kind of known for doing that. He would, diss himself so that you took the power away from other people. But there's a time and a place for it, I think. You do want to get ahead of it sometimes so that, whatever, there's different situations. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's sad, but definitely a human trait. At the end of the day, humans will talk negatively about you anyway, so there's no use in adding to that number. Very true. Very true. Fanny says, wonderful start to the day. Hey, that's what we're looking for here. That's what we're looking for. Neo says, love watching people teach investment. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here, Neo. It's good to see you, man. And hopefully you'll join us in the future. We got a really good community here. And it's not so much about teaching about investments because there's really nothing to teach. It's we talk about sound money here. We talk about the ethos more than watching numbers on a screen go up. It's much deeper than that. And so, yeah, I guess you would call it an investment in a way, but I see it as much bigger than that. And that's what we try to talk about here. Paradigm says, just added 3 more nodes to the network, still syncing. Why so many nodes? Yogi says, good man, broke my leg months ago, so recovering from that and focusing on my health. Good man. Neo became a redneck. There you go. 1 main local knots and 2 more knots on VPS pruned. Why so many? Rich says, love core. It's a good thing you don't have a YouTube channel, Sketchucation. Otherwise, you'd be there'd be people with pitchforks outside your house for saying that, which is sad, but it's truth. Sin says, hola, finita. Paradigm says, to me, I run both, but keep core as backup because when the chain splits, I'll know which client is the real one. Yeah, I've heard a couple people doing that. Sharon B says, sorry, Jor, or so sorry, Water Jor. We got her. Zenjamin Ben says, great perspective from you as always, Jor. Measured, low time preference. Thanks for the shows. Keep it up. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. Because you never know. You never know. I mean, we got the live chat here to call me on bullshit and other things. I appreciate the kind words. So we got 31 people over in Rumble. Let's hit it out of the park today. Let's get 31 1-to-1 ratio. Can we do it? Everybody watching on Rumble, press the thumbs up. Let's see if we can get to 1-to-1 in honor of Praetorian today. Miners will let me know once I start seeing stale shares. I'm switching to the real client. That's the best way to be, man. This golden age sucks. I'm paying $5 gas for freedom. What the hell does that mean? The golden age hasn't even begun yet. But speaking of that, this is where we're going to end it today. So here's I know a lot of people are emotionally scarred by this because of Jerry's show. But there was something that I saw yesterday on here. This was, this popped up. The new secret window on the debt clock. So it says Repo Wonderland. This is interesting. Repo Wonderland, executive order, alchemy. And it looks like Trump is there with a treasure. What do you call those things? treasure chest. A treasure chest with alchemy in it. And he's saying, how's the cartel asset seizure operation going? And if you look at that, how's the cartel asset seizure operation going? And I don't know who this guy is. It says Captain Romer. I've never heard or seen of Captain Romer before, but he's got a USA Treasury repo squad with armor on, and it says Operation Downfall. And look at this. This is super interesting to me. I don't know why. And again, this could be nothing, but I really don't think that it is nothing. And it says, phenomenal, sir. You wouldn't believe what we've discovered so far. And it looks like some ancient, well, there's a lot of gold back here in the background. And then there's some golden statues here and monuments. You wouldn't believe what we've discovered so far. So I don't, I don't put too much weight into this, but this has always been my whole overlying theory here. And it really led me into Bitcoin. A lot of these things, all these dots along the years really led me into Bitcoin in a very serious way. But there was a lot of things that happened for a couple of years when when COVID was going on. There was a whole bunch of different weird things that happened that were a big deal for those who were paying attention for like a day or two, and then people kind of moved on from it. But there was a lot of these just weird things happening, and things like this. Things like this, like I swear to God, I remember watching, there was a live stream of, what was it? The Vatican? There's a live stream on certain monuments and things around the world. But this one was for the Vatican. And I don't know if it was on New Year's Eve or it was some day. This was back in like 2021 or 2022. But there was a live stream. And you could see there was like 100 different police cars there, or some sort of this unit at the Vatican, and you would look at Google Maps, that exact place on Google Maps, and it had construction for like or do not enter areas for like 10 blocks around it or more. Like the whole place was just surrounded. And again, it wasn't ever on the news. Nobody was nobody was ever talking about it, but you had the live stream there watching it happen. And then you had the Google Maps verifying that this is closed off right now, but then nothing ever came from it. That you never heard anything about it after that. So then when I see things like this, it's like, how's the cartel asset seizure operation going? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that we have no idea of. And that's what really a lot of people get wrong with this whole thing. The different narratives and the sides that people take is like they put way too much weight into Trump saying something or somebody else doing something, and then the news saying what the narrative is. Like, you have to understand that it's a war. It is a war. You could argue on between who and who, but there is a war going on. There's been a war going on for a long time. And it wouldn't make sense for one side to come out and tell the other side their plans, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I know that that's hard for people to like buy into, but logistically speaking, it would never make sense for you to tell your enemy your plans. So it's like, when you see these things and hear these things, you just have to assume that it's bullshit. Because why would anybody tell their enemy their plans? And so it's funny to me because we just keep going down the lines further and further into bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like there's this story, the news story breaks, and it's like it's a lie from day one, but then people are like digging for weeks into it when it was a lie the whole time. So just like the amount of human time and energy wasted on that are obviously lies. So that's kind of my thesis here, is like there's been a lot of this stuff has been happening behind the scenes that we have no information or knowledge of. So I don't even pretend to know, but I know that has to be happening, right? Unless, I guess the only way that you disagree with that or be objective to that or object that theory is if you believe that there is one world order, one group of people, everybody's on the same team, and they're just coming up with this stuff to mess with people, which could be true. Me personally, I don't believe that. I believe that there is at least two sides here, and they've been at war for a very long time. And so then if you go under that assumption or, that theory, then it would make sense that things would happen without you knowing about it, right? And when somebody says something, it's probably not the truth because you wouldn't want the other side to know what you're doing, right? I don't know. That just seems like logical to me, but for a lot of people, they just have a very hard time believing that that's the case. So we'll see. Gunman said, I honestly don't think I'm ugly. I was just joking. Okay, well, that's good. It led to a good discussion, though, either way. Anyways, I got to get out of here. We got a live stream coming up in an hour and a half. Broski, decentralization. If my power goes out at home, I still have my VPS data center to allow me to interact with the network. Good man. Anywhere around the world, 24/7. Sharon B doesn't like the clock. Captain Romer is Q. So Plubinator, I know that you're kind of deep into this stuff, but do you think that Trump then is Q++? Also, Trump gave a weird shout out to General Flynn the other day, who's a big proponent of the Q group, not QAnon, not to be confused with QAnon. That's just a totally made up thing that the mainstream news had. I've never heard of Captain Romer before. We are moving gold back to a gold-based dollar. I believe we are too, but I don't think it's going to be gold-backed. I think it's going to be energy-backed. And that's kind of what the whole theory on the U.S. debt clock is too. Energy-backed, technology, infrastructure, real estate, stock market, gold, silver, Bitcoin, all this stuff are going to be back in the new treasury dollar. Hang on. So you go to U.S. debt clock. And Plebinator, I agree with, because here's the thing. This number makes no sense. This number makes no sense. 39 trillion. Look how fast this clock's going up. Look how fast this is going up. $39 trillion. It's done. When are we going to pronounce the system dead? 39 trillion? No. There's a zero, not 0.000000001%. It's a zero chance that this is ever repaid. So why are we still acknowledging this system? Why are we still measuring things with this dollar? Why are we pretending that this is somehow ever going to be repaid? This is interesting, though, to me. This is interesting to me. So here's where my mind goes here. So there's this USA Treasury Reserve, which means that there's going to be restitution for each U.S. citizen per taxpayer. This is what they've gotten back. And that, to me, lines up with this, which is if there was indeed two sides to this story, and that you have the cartel, the banking cartel, 1913, the ones who have stolen trillions of dollars or more from humans, from society. Wouldn't it make sense that if you won the war against them, that you were going to take it all back? Asset seizure? Because you got to keep in mind here that what this cartel has been doing through all these years. We've talked about the godlike powers that if you have the ability to create units, right? But it goes deeper than that, because what they've been doing for 113 years now is they've been printing money, I guess more so since 1971, at least for the last 55 years. But they print money and then they buy assets with it. They print money and they buy assets with it. They also print money and influence the school systems and the media and the narratives and the flow of information. But they've also been buying assets. So if you came along and you said, hey, you guys are fucking done, you've wrecked the world for 100 and X amount of years, we're taking this back. So that's what this is. They're not going and seizing their bank accounts. They're going and seizing everything that they've bought or stolen with that power. So again, I know people are going to watch this and say, man, Jor, what an idiot. But we'll see. We'll see. And we'll probably never know the full story of what happened. But I do believe that we will have a new US dollar, treasury dollar. I do believe that in a couple decades from now, we will be measuring everything in Satoshis. So the US dollar will no longer be the reserve asset of the world. It will be Bitcoin. Because it makes the most sense. A world reserve currency should be global. It shouldn't be issued by one government, right? Like that makes all this stuff makes sense. It's just hard to unfuck your brain from the programming and the brainwashing that we've received for our entire lives. So the US Treasury will have a new dollar. It'll be backed by energy, not just Bitcoin or gold, but everything. All the assets that the US has, land, resources, gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever they got, that's what'll back the US Treasury dollar. The world reserve currency will become Bitcoin because it's global. Nobody can change it. People can use it to trade without any sort of worry of censorship or, intervention with it. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. And they don't really have another choice right now. So you can believe that they have good intentions or not, but they really have no other choice. I believe there's good intentions there, but that maybe that's me being naive. But, I believe that there are good people out there. And those people get into positions where they have the ability to make real change. And I believe that it's been happening for decades now. We're just kind of at the crux of it right now. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I'm hot. I got to go. I believe we are as well. They will revalue the gold. Yeah, that's the most logical thing, man. Revalue the gold. Make these things obsolete. The Federal Reserve note. See you later, Federal Reserve. You've done enough. But not only that, we're not just letting you off the hook. We're taking back everything that you've done. And people think that the Federal Reserve is just like in the US, like in Boston or Minnesota or Chicago. It's not. It's in London. It was in Rome. It was kind of like a bunch of different parts of the world. We're extracting from Americans and other parts of the world via the US dollar. And they have accumulated a lot of assets with that ability. So I don't think that the U.S. Treasury or the U.S. Federal Reserve is just going to go quietly into the dark. I think that this thing's going to become worth nothing, even worth less than it is today somehow, but worth nothing when they revalue the gold. That becomes worth nothing. And not only are they just going to say, you're worth nothing anymore, we're going to take everything that you've stolen through all these years. Could be wrong. But that's my thesis and has been for a long time. And Bitcoin fits perfectly into that plan. Oh, yeah, got to go. Got to go. Thanks again, everybody. Big shout out to Sats and Sunsets, Sharon B, Praetorian. And I think Mark was the biggest zapper of the day. Sharon B, not too far behind, though. So thank you. And to all who sent in some zaps, big or small today, I really appreciate it. So I don't know if I agree with this one, Plebinator, or not. I think that it's going to be, who knows? I don't know. I keep looking at my coffee here, but there's not much left. Okay. Yes, on the way out, press the like button. I appreciate it. And let's do a little raid here to end our Friday show. Let's do it. Let's see if we got our quota here. We got 20. That's not bad. We got one extra thumbs up from that, but that's okay. Who cares? So if you're watching on Rumble, just stick around for a minute here or two, and let's go raid a channel. Let's show some love. We're the #1 stream in finance and crypto today. Nice, on Rumble. Okay, we got Major League Fishing. We should watch that one. Let's go see Mel K. No. Should we watch some fishing? Mel K, where's Badlands? Badlands is not live right now. I thought they were always live. We need a Bitcoin version of Badlands. We need a Bitcoin version of Badlands. Okay, well, I don't know if this will work or not, but let's go watch some fishing. Where was that? Oh, right here. Yeah, let's watch some fishing here. YouTube, you won't be able to raid with us here, but for those on Rumble, we're gonna raid. Plebinator says, "Get G Money on your show." I know. I actually love G Money. I'm a big fan. He said he'd come on. I just haven't got around to asking him yet. Okay, so let's raid. So thanks everybody once again. Have yourselves a great weekend, and let's go raid the fishing. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you in about half an hour on Maple Bitcoin. Bye-bye.